The India-Australia multi-format series has come to an end, but the Australian summer has only just begun. A permanent fixture of that summer for the last 6 years has been the Women's Big Bash League, the premier women's domestic T20 league that attracts some of the best players in the world. This time around, as many as 8 Indians will be part of it. When does the tournament begin? What do the squads look like? Who are the players to watch? We'll answer all those questions on this episode of The Outside View.
Organizing a cricket tournament has not been the same since the pandemic broke out. Last year, the Women's Big Bash League happened in the Biobubble village in Sydney. This year also it was supposed to start in Sydney, but due to border restrictions and COVID situation in the country, it has been shifted to Tasmania. The 59 matches, all of which will be televised, will be played across Queensland, South Australia, Tasmania and Western Australia. In the Women's Big Bash League, each team is allowed a maximum of 5 marquee players, including 3 overseas stars. Adelaide Strikers and Sydney Heat will have only 2 overseas stars for the upcoming edition of WBBL, as they have already filled out the quota of their marquee players. There are a few rule changes when it comes to the knockout stages in the upcoming season. The team that finishes at the top of the points table in the league stage will go directly to the final of the tournament. The third and fourth place teams will play against each other in the eliminator, and whoever wins will be playing the team that finishes second in the qualifier. The team that wins in the qualifier will face the team that finished at the top of the points table in the final of the tournament. Unlike the previous editions, most teams will want to be at the top of the point table so that they would not have to go through the eliminator and qualifier in the upcoming season. While the tournament has seen a lot of changes in the schedule, there are also a lot of changes from the players who are participating. Quite a few big names from the 6th edition of the WBBL will not be participating in this edition. Now let's see how each squad is shaped up for this edition of the tournament.
If the England summer was about Sophia Dunkley, the Australian summer so far is all about Talia McGrath. After a player of the series performance against India, McGrath will be hoping to carry on that form in the WBBL, and she will be a major part of that Adelaide Strikers squad. As a Team Pacer fan, the Adelaide Strikers squad has got me drooling. Megan Schutt, Darcy Brown, McGrath herself, and Megan Dixon from Queensland, all fantastic bowlers who will make up a strong attack for Adelaide. But the squad has seen a fair bit of change, with 2 long-time strikers, Suzie Bates and Alex Price, missing out. West Indies captain Stefanie Taylor is also no longer part of the unit. But the Strikers have some strong international replacements. Safa power is the way to go. They've continued with Laura Wilpart and roped in South African skipper Taneale Pesche in the last minute. The international talent aside, the Strikers also have the reliable Bridget Patterson, Amanda Jade Wellington, the exciting Maddie Penna, and a new recruit in Gemma Barsby, who will all play a vital role for them.
Next up, we will be looking up at the 2-time champions Brisbane Heat, led by Jess Jonathan, who will be coming from a break after missing the India-Australia multi-format series. While they will be missing out on the services of Delisa Cummins, who retired, they have roped the exciting young South African batter Ananya Bosch at the top of the order. As we said before, Amelia Kerr will be missing, but they have roped in the Indian leg spinner Poonam Yadav to replace the New Zealand all-rounder. While Poonam Yadav did not get a game for India throughout the series, she will be motivated to do well in the WBBL to regain her place in the Indian team. Brisbane Heat had a tipsy-topsy curve, with Laura Cummins taking them through the semi-finals in the later part of the tournament. Her performance in the 6th edition of the league for Brisbane Heat led her to a 100 contract, and where she was striking at 170 strike rate in the 6 games that she played. She will be coming back into the tournament with a lot of confidence after playing in the 100, and her role in the middle order will be crucial for the Heat to do well in the upcoming season. They will also have the services of the specialist opening batter Georgia Redmayne, who has been the talk of the Australian summer so far, along with the South African all-rounder Nadine de Klerk. It seems like Brisbane Heat has covered all their bases, but whether they will cross the line it depends on how the other teams are shaping up this season.
After a disappointing season last year, Hobart Hurricanes have made some wholesale changes to their squad, signing some very experienced domestic and international players. In the coup of the year, they enticed WBBL's all-time leading wicket taker, Molly Strano, away from the Renegades to strengthen what is already a very exciting bowling attack. Senior South African batter Mignon du Preez and India's teen sensation Richa Ghosh have been included to bolster the batting as well. Ghosh was in fact pulled in as a last-minute replacement for Lizelle Lee. Hurricanes' third overseas international, Rachel Priest, will take the gloves and will also lead the side this season. The internationals aside, Hurricanes also have a strong bowling unit, with the tearaway quick Taylor Valemic leading the attack, alongside Nicola Carey, Belinda Vakariwa, and the leg-spinning pair of Amy Smith and Maisie Gibson joining Strano with the ball. It will be interesting to see how Hurricanes bounce back to winning ways. What they've done with their squad, the wholesale changes, the experienced campaigners will mean that they have some real hope of finally finishing in that top four.
The red team from Melbourne, the Renegades, did not have a memorable season last year. They finished seventh, winning only 4 matches of the 8, with 2 matches losing out to rain. This year, they will have a new captain in Sophie Molyneux, who will be leading, as Amy Satterthwaite and Leah Tahuvu are not a part of the tournament. However, the big news is they have the big Indian duo of Indian T20I skipper Harmanpreet Kaur and Jemima Rodrigues to fill their shoes. Both Jemima Rodrigues and Harmanpreet Kaur had a fantastic tournament in the 100, with Rodrigues finishing as the leading run scorer for her team, Northern Superchargers, and that in turn leading her return to the Indian team. Sophie Molyneux and the Renegades team management would be hoping that Rodriguez will replicate a similar performance in the WBBL as well. Renegades will also see the return of Jess Duffin, who was not a part of the previous season after she gave birth to a child. And as far as the bowling is concerned, they have roped in the Melbourne Stars seamer Holly Furling alongside the young Quicks Ellen Falconer and Poppy Gardner. With Kaur and Rodriguez to roll the arm around if required, Molyneux will be hoping to turn the tide around for Renegades in the coming season.
WBBL06 was all about the Melbourne Stars. Meg Lanning, Elise Villani, Natalie Siver, and Mignon du Preez were the engine room of that team. But this season, they've had to ring in the changes. Their overseas contingent consists of the English pair of Maya Bouchier and Lindsay Smith, and also the Irish international Kim Garth. It's not just the loss of international talent that may hurt the Stars, but the domestic talent as well. They had to let go of their leg-spinning all-rounder Alana King and senior seamer Holly Furling, but they managed to hold on to Erin Osborne and Elise Villani, both of whom will add much-needed experience to this young side. Australia all-rounder Annabelle Sutherland, the Elise Perry in waiting, will also be expected to take up more responsibility with both bat and ball, while Tess Flintoff, who showed great promise at the back end of last year, could benefit from a more prominent role.
T20 cricket is a lot about flexibility, and last season, one of the teams that was heavily reliant on their openers was Perth Scorchers. They were riding on the runs scored by Beth Mooney and Sophie Devine on their way to the semi-final before losing it out in the knockouts. Both Mooney and Devine ended up the leading run scorers last season, and the middle order remained untested, and when it come to the crunch situation, they flattered. However, this year, Scorchers have plugged all the holes in the middle order by roping in the Sri Lankan captain Chamari Atapoto and South African all-rounder Madison Karp, who have moved from Sydney Sixers to the Perth Scorchers. While they will be missing the services of Sarah Glenn, who was the leading wicket-taker for them last season, Alana King will have to step up and fill the role of Glenn in the lower middle order. Well, it wouldn't be a bad choice, as King struck at around a 180 strike rate last season in the limited chance that she got a bat in the previous season. With the experience of Karp and Devine adding to the pace department, Scorchers will be hoping that Heather Graham, Taneale Pesche, and Piper Cleary will be able to do the role for them in the upcoming season.
For Indian fans, the Sydney Sixers will be a popular team. following the signings of two of India's most exciting T20 players, Shafali Verma, the Wonder Kid, and left-arm spinner Radha Yadav. The opening combination, or a potential opening combination of Verma and Healy, will be hard to take your eyes off. Imagine what will happen if they get going. The two-time champions have had to make wholesale changes to their squad, swapping the South African pair of Marizan Kaap and Dane van Niekerk for the Indian duo. The Sixers, though, continue to have a very strong Australian international presence, with Elise Perry, the skipper, Alyssa Healy, and Ashley Gardner, joined by the likes of Maitlan Brown, Stella Campbell, Lauren Cheadle, Erin Burns, and their newest signing, Nicole Bolton. You look at that group of seamers with Brown, Campbell, Cheadle, and Perry, and you think this couldn't get any stronger. After what was a very, very disappointing season for the Sixers, they'll be keen to turn their form around. And when you look at their roster, it's extremely strong. So they'd certainly be disappointed not to get into that top four.
Last but not the least comes the defending champion Sydney Thunder, who will be missing the services of their skipper Rachel Haynes. It's not just the Sixers who have got an Indian superstar. Thunder have got their own in Smriti Mandhana, who will be replacing Tammy Bowman at the top of the order. While Mandhana is likely to open the batting with all-rounder Sammy Jo Johnson, who had a brilliant season in the 100 for Trent Rockets, Shabnam Ismail, who will be missing out due to injury, is being replaced by the young, exciting fast bowler from England, Izzy Wong. The big replacement, though, will be the services of England skipper Heather Knight, who had a breakout season last year, scoring over 400 runs and taking 10 wickets in that middle order. Indian all-rounder Deepti Sharma will be replacing her London Spirit skipper Heather Knight in that middle order. Trevor Griffin had called Deepti Sharma a like-for-like all-rounder replacement for Heather Knight. Sharma did not get a lot of chances with the bat in the India-Australia White Ball series. Can she live up to the expectations of the coach and have a breakout season in the WBBL? Like the last season, Sam Bates will have a huge role to play in that bowling department, along with Lauren Smith, Talia Wilson, and Anika Leroy to deliver with the ball. Sydney Thunder had their ups and downs in WBBL 6, but once they got to the knockouts, they toppled Melbourne Stars in the final and won the trophy. Can they do a repeat in the upcoming season of the WBBL? We'll have to wait and watch. While the Heelys and the Vermas and the Divines take all the limelight in a T20 league, it is an anchor that plays a crucial role for the team that goes under the radar. England uncapped all-rounder Evelyn Jones was one such player for Birmingham Phoenix in the 100, and she is my first pick for the player to watch out for in the upcoming season of the WBBL. She scored 233 runs in the 100 for the Phoenix and was also the leading run scorer in the Charlotte Edwards Cup, the domestic T20 competition, playing for Central Sparks. Her strike rate may be around the 110s and 120s, but it is her consistency that stands out, and her role in the top four will be very crucial for Renegades to turn around the season.
When Charlotte Edwards points to a player as one to watch, you'd have to be a bit of a fool not to listen to her. Earlier this year, she spoke very highly of Charlie Dean, and lo and behold, the off-spinner has taken to international cricket like a duck to water. Ahead of WBBL06, Edwards pointed to all-rounder Madeline Penna of the Adelaide Strikers as a player of much promise. In WBBL05, Penna was a bit of a trivia question, the one remembered for conceding 5 consecutive sixes in an over against Adelaide Strikers' Sophie Devine. She was roped in at that time as a replacement for the Stars. In WBBL06, she turned out for the Strikers and scored 173 runs in 13 innings in the lower middle order. Although her numbers are not very impressive, what did stand out about Penna was her game awareness and the power she brings to that lower middle order. In one innings in particular, she scored a match-winning 56 not out of just 33 balls on what was a difficult surface against Hobart Hurricanes. It was an effort that took her side over the line. Batting in a difficult position, Penna strikes at over 120. And in a side that is very top-heavy, she will play an extremely crucial role for the Strikers.
Taneale Pesche's performance with the ball was one of the main reasons for Scorchers marching through the knockout in the last edition of the WBBL. She provided Scorchers the crucial breakthroughs early in the power play, taking 13 wickets, the highest as a pacer for the team, the second highest overall after Sarah Glenn. Special has been a part of the Scorchers since the third edition of the tournament, and she has grown leaps and bounds in the last four seasons. Devine had a memorable tournament with the bat last year, but if Scorchers were to get their hands on the trophy, Special will have to have a great season in the upcoming edition of the WBBL.
Known more for her antics off the field, the TikToks, the design work, and the singing without opening her mouth, Maitlan Brown has been around the Australian setup for the last few months. After earning a maiden call-up to the squad for the series against New Zealand in September, Brown suffered a bit of an injury. She tore her hamstring during the WBBL. But she kicked off the season with an extremely fiery spell against Australian skipper Meg Lanning that included what was a brutal bouncer. Unfortunately, her season was derailed by the injury, but she has since made a comeback to the Australian squad and was named in the side for the multi-format series against India. Unfortunately for Brown, she didn't get a game. But through her WBBL career, which she has entirely played for the Renegades, Brown has taken 44 wickets in 59 matches. That's the fourth most for the Renegades in the WBBL. This season, however, she'll turn out for the Sydney Sixers and work closely with Ben Sawyer and Australia's premier seamer for a very, very long time, Elise Perry. This season, Brown will be hoping that a change in colours leads to no injuries, more game time, and more of a chance to impress the powers that be. We've told you about the teams, we've told you about the players, and now it's time for you to pick your favourite. The tournament will kick off on Thursday, that's October 14th, with a clash between the two-time champion Sydney Sixers and last year's finalist, Melbourne Stars. So let us know which one of the teams you think looks the strongest, which is your favourite, and who do you think could win the whole thing? Could this possibly be the season of Shefali Verma? If you haven't downloaded this yet, make sure to download your copy of the Women's Cricket Zone magazine. But that's it from us for now on The Outside View. Stay tuned for more updates and news from the WBBL. We'll catch you later.